Let's talk indie releases December 2023. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is the one I look forward to each and every month, and that is the indie releases coming out of whatever month we're in. It just happens to be December of 2023. Before we jump into the list today, make sure to check the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord should you want to come along for the ride. Without any further crapping on from me, let's jump into the list. Starting off strong on December 1st, we have Climbing the Ranks #1 by Tao Wong. Now, Tao Wong is a name which is no stranger to the progression, cultivation / lit RPG world. He has a lot of books out, and this is a book 1 in a new series. It says, when the towers arrived, without warning, without communication of intent or indication of reasoning, chaos ensued. Decades later, enhancements from the tower and mana cores from the creatures within power the most advanced technology in the real world. What was once a puzzling mystery has become a necessary part of economic growth. For Arthur Chua, the Malaysian beginner tower has always been his objective. Climbing the tower is the only form of escape available for one without money or connections. He's not looking to be a hero or famous, just a survivor. Fate, on the other hand, has other plans for him. At long last, the reason for the arrival of the towers will be revealed, and humanity will once again experience a seismic shift. I cannot pronounce that word. I've never been able to pronounce that word. When the truth appears. Of course, Arthur's going to have to survive long enough for that to happen. I'm interested in giving another Tao Wong book a go after reading The Nameless Restaurant. I loved that very much. So yeah, maybe I'll pick this one up. Also on December 1st, we have Help, My Dog is the Chosen One by Ronit J. Now, I have been lucky enough to receive an ARC for this one. I have not yet read it. Sorry, Ronit, but I will get to it. It sounds absolutely delightful, this little novella for your December reads. Kunal is forced to adventure because his dog is the chosen one. Kunal is just your average guy living on rent in Mumbai, working from home and suffering from anxiety. His world is turned upside down when his girlfriend asks him to foster a rescued street dog. Despite his qualms, Kunal agrees because what's the worst that can happen? That's when the extra-dimensional Dark Lord attacks. The dog is the only one who can stop the Dark Lord, but he can't do it without Kunal's help. Can Kunal overcome his many anxieties, and will our world suffer for eternity? This just sounds like a heck of a lot of fun, and I can't wait to read it. On the 3rd of December, we had Spark the Divine, the Colorat Chronicles book #1 by Louise Holland. Now, I already have a full review out for this one. I have been lucky enough to speak to Louise here on the channel. I really loved the book, so there is a full review up there. But I will say, save the gods, save their realm. As a divine, May wields her strange gifts quietly as a mercenary until a simple rescue job sees the crew uncover a plot to steal divinity from the gods themselves. When the god May serves as attacked, she must restore their power before the 7 realms are thrown into chaos. With the kingdom of Altea already on the edge of war and the divinity of all gods at stake, the crew must travel beyond their country and realm to save it. But each member has their own agenda, and secrets of romance and betrayal threaten to break them apart. This was such a good book. It's a D&D inspired classic feeling fantasy, which is just fun. You'll have a good time, trust me. Also, on the 4th of December, we've got a big name in indie fantasy with Sin and Sorrow, The City of Sacrifice book #3 by Michael R. Fletcher. We've got some epic fantasy, grimdark goodness coming our way. Also, these covers are just next level. Anytime Michael R. Fletcher does a cover reveal, it's just crazy. The artists do such an amazing job. This is a book 3, so I will need to move on. On December 4th, we have Queen of Blood and Blasphemy, Tidecaller Chronicles book #4 by Levi Jacobs, and I love that title, The Queen of Blood and Blasphemy. Amazing. I can't go too much into this one because it is a book 4. I just got the first book of this. I don't know how it came across my radar, but Levi Jacobs, when I was reading this list, I was like, that name sounds familiar, and I just downloaded the first book of the series. So, looking forward to getting to book 1 sometime soon. On the 5th of December, we have Choosing the Slain, The Ghosts of Valhalla, book 1 by Amy Cecil, and this is an urban fantasy entry. Look at the cat on the cover. The older I get, the more I'm realizing that I don't not like cats. I'm just allergic to them, so I avoid them, but some of them are very pretty. Anyway, life sucks, and then you die, usually. Last week, Frankie had a great job and an amazing fiance. Now she's sleeping in a storage closet and taking advice from a talking cat. That is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. A timely warning sends her rushing into a burning building, choosing to save the woman she loves, and condemning an innocent to death wakes the Valkyrie power she never knew she had. Frankie can choose who lives and who dies, and that draws the attention of exiled gods looking for a way back to Earth. If she doesn't learn the rules and choose sides fast, the world will burn and Ragnarok will begin. Actually sounds like a bit of fun for that one. Next up on the 5th of December, we have Two Worlds, The Dawn of Forest Black by Amanis Faniel. Hopefully I pronounced that somewhat correctly. I apologize if I didn't. And this is a YA entry, Sword and Sorcery, and it is a book 2. The first line of the blurb is very spoilery for book 1, so I'm just going to move on. Also on the 5th of December, we have The Engineer, The Last Horizon, book 2 by Will White in a sci fantasy. I love this cover. It's like 70s, 80s classic sci-fi covers that are just a little bit insane. And it is book 2, so we will move on from there. But if you are looking for your next Will White adventure, or Wit, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I think it's Wit, then you can go ahead and pick this one up already, because we're past the 5th of December. On the 7th of December, we have the Jaws of Hell, Titan Wars, book 4. I'm fairly sure we just saw Titan Wars, whatever the previous one was, in an earlier video of these this year. This is by Samuel Gately, and it is another entry into the grimdark and epic fantasy series. Just a step into the jaws of hell, only the lucky survive. On the 8th of December, we have The Awakened Prince, Once Upon a Prince, book 11, YA, romance, cozy fantasy, which I feel like this cover just screams all of those things. Every single one of them. So it is a book 11, which is the longest running series that we have in this list so far, so we will be moving on from there. On the 12th of September, we have the Sapphire Stratagem, the Crystal Halls book 3 by Thomas K. Carpenter, and it is another urban fantasy. This one, like, they just don't urban fantasy books. Like, you can tell with the covers, you can tell they're urban fantasy. This one's a book 3. On the 12th of December, this is a book that I was lucky enough to read, and Rachel was lucky enough to edit for the wonderful Helen Reig Pedersen, and that is Apple Seeds in the Snow. This is the Zemkroska Chronicles book number 2. Now, I can read the blurb for this because these books can be read separately. A pampered princess, a killer king, the seeds of ruin. Now that her schooling is over, pampered Princess Una Dominov must turn her attentions to the needs of the realm, such as marrying a waterborne descendant of the Naiads to help uphold the balance. But she doesn't want her hideous intended, nor her responsibilities. All she wants is to have fun with her best friend, who must soon face her own royal duties. As a last hurrah before the wedding bells sound, the friends head north for Winterfest. There is just one problem. Ladau. Ladau? I've not been able to pronounce it since I read it. Sorry, Helen. The grumpy guardsman her intended has hired to protect his interests seems intent on spoiling her fun and shielding her from the only man she deems worthy of her hand, the dashing King Olaf van Odeberg. But when intentions are misconstrued, the merrymaking ends. Una's freedom is under threat and the destruction of her country at stake. Can she put her naivete and prejudices aside to fight for what and who is truly important? This was a delightful read. If you like very pretty prose and your fantasy with a bit of romance and a bit of spice, you're going to enjoy this one. On the 12th of December, we have The Boys of Shadows, stories by Geron by Camilla Varuk. Again, sorry about the pronunciation. This is a YA romance. It says a scared boy, a power struggle, a unique bird, and a painful longing for love. I can't go too much into it because it is a series continuation. Now, on the 14th of December, we have a paperback release of Words Louder Than 1,000 Swords. This is the Atroor Book 1. I believe the Kindle edition is already available, but it says, you can have good intentions, but are you right? That is only one of the questions plaguing altruistic Eldenher, whose genderless race enters a scattered tribal civilization to unite all races of Atroor. However, benevolence isn't Eldenher's only motivation. Their mission may be impossible, although the barbarian Orm attempts to unite warring clans, but what are his true thoughts? A shadowy order of immortals following Elderhur's group wonders the same. They're exasperated with the ruinous ways of the old races. Genocide may be the only answer. As tensions mount, the protagonists face life-altering choices, making them question their goals. Wait, will time run out for all protagonists, or will an unfair world discover its utopia? This sounds like a lot of fun. I am not sure if this has been on a list before, but the paperback is coming out on the 14th of December. On the 15th of December, we have The Winter Prince, Once Upon a Prince Book 12. So that long-running series just got knocked off its pedestal with a Book 12. This is by Constance Lopez. This is YA romance and cozy fantasy. Again, the cover just screams all of those things, but it is a Book 12, so we will need to move on. On the 19th of December, we have one of the coolest covers I think I've ever seen, and that is The House of Boreal, the Hayden Legacy Book 3 by Kel A. Choleric. I love this cover so much. This is epic fantasy, sword and sorcery / progression cultivation, and it says, behind the mask of truth and honor lies a corrupted creed. And this is a book 3, so I can't go too much into it, but that cover and that tagline definitely have me intrigued to check out the series itself. Also on the 19th of December, we have Shadecursed. This is the Bestiary Book 1 by Aaron Christie, and this is epic fantasy, sword and sorcery, and sci-fantasy. This cover is quite intriguing. It almost looks like a glasswork mosaic, and I can't stop looking at it. I don't know how I feel about the cover, but I know that I'm definitely intrigued by it, and also the name the Bestiary as a series. Like, I am all about those fantasy creatures, so let's see what this one has in store for us. What if you were accidentally the only person who could save the whole planet? Oh man, that's a lonely life. That's the conundrum that landed on Meadow's lap. See, Meadow's a fawn, and he never wanted to do anything except play, eat, occasionally shake his fist at the gods, and play in a band with his friends. But when a godless dies, Meadow finds out that a mistake in his past might have put him in the unique position to be the world's savior. So now what? Does he spurn his responsibilities, hide away from his destiny? Of course not. He gets his friends together to go on an adventure, and maybe even wash his hooves in some sacred fountains along the way. After all, you can play in a band and save the world, right? It's easy. With Benji the Manicore as his muscle, Petri the Banshee as his healer, and Luca the human as, well, no one's really sure why Luca's around, but she'll probably come in handy, and she plays a mean riff on the guitar, so there's that. In any case, there's no way they can possibly fail their quest. Never mind that the shade that killed the goddess seems to be all-powerful, with full control over the planet's very life essence. No big deal. It sure would be nice if that pack of deadly gnolls would stop stalking them, though. This sounds incredible. This sounds like a lot of fun. I think I'm going to go hit the pre-order button directly after filming this video. On the 21st of December, we have Children of the Ocean Serpent. This title goes on to say a dark metaphysical fantasy novel, a brief history of the Khazars, the Sendian Empire series by Seth Hobbs. So maybe this is something that goes with a series, like a companion. I'm not 100% sure. This has an incredibly long blurb, so we'll see what we get through. Koras Khazar, known as the latest incarnation of the revered ocean serpent, has finally begun to fulfill the dreams of his father, Caligus. As he struggles to unite the Sendian continent and build an extended empire, he faces the same threats that his late father and brother faced themselves. There are potential enemies at every turn, from his own court to criminal syndicates, from far-flung battlefields to the high seas, from religious zealots to his own blood itself. Meanwhile, Teldor, the prognosticator, I don't know what that is, plots his own version for the future for Lower Sendia. Invited to discuss peace and possibility, a unifying marriage with Kulthea Khazar, Koru's sister, he finds himself embroiled in an ever-changing web of political intrigue and subterfuge. Loretta Khazar, the Queen Mother, has begun a steamy affair with her son's political advisor Phobius Scantalus. What a name. The problem is that Scantalus already has a wife and sons. This scandalous news is already well known throughout the kingdom. What is not known, however, is the box of secrets that Scantalus keeps carefully hidden in his conflicted mind. Devak Mo Devak, the ill-fated musical assassin of there's so many fantasy words in this, of Kazag suffers the brutal version of hospitality served fresh daily in the prisons of the Sendine capital in Ecstasy Bay. Yet surprisingly, Koras Kazag might just find a use for his brother's murderer after all. Alright, it does go on, there's quite a few, but you get the gist that this book has got a large cast and there's a lot of things happening in it, and it sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest, and like the cover is incredible as well. There's just a lot happening here. On the 22nd of December, we have Isaree of the Wild Isles by Noor Al-Shanti, and this is an epic fantasy entry. It says, sandwiched between the mighty high kingdoms and the great land of sunsets, the upland villages did not have much to claim greatness to power. Many of these villages did not even have names. When an army of sorcerers from the High Kingdoms was mobilized to invade the Land of Sunsets, it was these small villages stuck in the middle that bore the brunt of the army's march. In one of these villages, Isaree has just discovered her own magical power, but even the dreaming of what this could mean for her is made impossible by the presence of the sorceress armies. When they hear that the sorcerers have begun to forcibly take anyone with power, the village elders decide that the most likely to be taken must flee. In the blink of an eye, Isaree finds herself at the head of a group of runaways, responsible for leading them to safety, with nothing to rely on except her knowledge of the nearby woods and caves and the food that their families have lovingly packed for them. Isaree and her friends must stick together to survive in a world much bigger than any of them could have imagined, a world full of wars and empires, sorcery and power, and tucked away in forgotten corners, impossible creatures of legend. In this vast, frightened world, Isaree must learn not just how to survive, but who she wants to be. And the last one we have on this list today is The Broken Empire, the Ringweller series, book number 3, coming out on the 23rd of December. They wanted power in order to bring peace, but power has terrible consequences. I really like this cover too. I love the pop of pink that we have in here, but it is a book 3, so we will need to move on from there. Those are the entries that were on the list this month. They're coming out in December of 2023. I am probably going to go and pre-order a couple of these now. I'm not going to lie. You all know who I am as a person. Are you going to pick any of these up? Have you read any of these? Are you excited for any of them? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.